So we're going to be talking about Jamaica today. Since yesterday was Bob Marley's birthday, this series that I'm going to be doing, this is my first episode, so to speak, is called Makeup and Haunts, and it's about makeup. Well, I'm gonna do my makeup and tell you about some places that are haunted. And we're going to start always with the history, so you'll have some kind of understanding. Sometimes stuff isn't directly tied together, but most of the time, or sometimes it is. So that's why we're going to start with history. And I won't bog you down with history. I'm sorry, my eyes are itching. I won't bog you down with history because, you're here for the scary stuff. So, let's get into it. So, Jamaica was originally inhabited by the Arawak Indians, or the Arawak indigenous people. So they were indigenous, to the island. Um, the Arawak are also known. You might know them more as the Taino people. So that's their other tribe name. Hold on a minute. I'm putting on this primer. So Jamaica is, inhabited by the Arawak or Taino tribe. And it is discovered, Jamaica is discovered by Christopher Columbus. So he's gonna be the one to come to the island and claim it for Spanish control. Now, a little interesting fact about back to the Arawak slash Taino tribe. Some of their words appear in the English language, and those are words such as hurricane, which was originally pronounced as hurricane, Cayman. So if you've ever seen or been to Grand Cayman, they spelled it Caiman, and then when it gets anglicized, it's spelled with a Y. Other words are cassava and canoe. That was another word. I feel like there's another Carib, which is Caribbean. So the first part of Caribbean is supposedly an Arawak word. Now, the reason that Columbus comes to Jamaica, and by the way, he's on his second voyage by this point, but the reason that he comes to Jamaica is because the Cubans, this is specifically the Cubans, that came off real weird. I'm like, yeah, the Cubans told him. No, the Cubans tell him that there is gold in Jamaica. So I guess he stopped at Cuba and he was talking about, talking and oh yeah, there's this island called Jamaica, also known at that time as Jamaica by the Arawak people. So it's also an Arawak word, Jamaica. There's gold on the island, and once people like that hear gold, that's it. Once they heard gold, he was like game. Now he gets to Jamaica and he finds out that there is no gold whatsoever. Yeah, there is no gold. And he was like, I've been played. there is no gold whatsoever. And I guess I can't even say lighter note because we know Columbus is known for some rough things. Some things that are rough, like some not so good, some unsavory activities, right? And disease spreading. But when he gets there, gets to Jamaica, he thinks this is the most beautiful island he has ever seen. Like, it's lush, it's green. He is blown away, and I'm like, oh my God, don't show him the Blue Mountains. This man gonna have a heart attack. So he says, I think he says the quote, and I'll put the quote somewhere around here. He says this is the most beautiful island, I guess, that he's ever beheld. I have his travel book or his travel journal, so if I can find it, or if I can find it online, I'll put it here somewhere on the screen. So he thinks this island is tops. And from pictures I've seen of Jamaica, he ain't lying. It's absolutely gorgeous. Actually, let me wait on that. Wait for my face to sit. So he is blown away by Jamaica, but Jamaica's not blown away by him, because when he gets there, he brings illness. His crew is mad rapey. Oh no. His crew is just like real. They just ew. We'll just say that. And like I said, I have his travel journal, and it says that he tried to like bring order to his men. Like, hey, you can't go around just treat these women on this island like you would treat your wives. Which for was that 17th century, the 17th century world, that's not good. That probably was not a good, um, you know, like comparison to use. I guess you could say simile to use. So yeah, so the Arawaks suffer because of him and his men. They catch illnesses that they were not aware of before, that their immune systems were not aware of before, and they began to die. And they said that he killed them off, but there are actually still descendants of Arawak people or Taino people in the Caribbean, like really all over the Caribbean, because those people, they went all over the Caribbean. So they came from South America and just spread out pretty much. But like I said, once Columbus gets there, that land is effectively Spanish land. So they'll be the first people to, be in Jamaica are the Spanish, and then it'll be the English. And the English are there for the longest. Like they are there. They're there until the 60s. So that's actually who Jamaica will get its independence from, or that's who they'll get their independence from, are the English. They were there for a while. For quite a while. I'm just gonna painting this out. I've been having some redness issues. Probably because of all the winter. No, it's winter. But yeah, so after Columbus gets there, the slave trade starts. Not like directly, but like afterwards, they start to grow things on the island. One of which, in addition to coffee, first of all, side note, Blue Mountain Coffee, Jamaica, keep doing what you're doing with that coffee. The best part of waking up is Blue Mountain in your cup, not Folgers. Sorry, no, not Folgers. Blue Mountain. Like that's how I start. That's how I start my mornings when I had Blue Mountain. I finished that in a weekend. My cousin had gone to Jamaica, and she's like, "I bought you some Blue Mountain." I was like, "Oh my god." That's the best part of waking up. So side note, so coffee, but before that it was sugarcane. And sugarcane was big because, man, when the Europeans discovered sugar, they lost their minds, which is fair. Same thing I can say for when they discovered chocolate, they lost their minds. Thank you, Mexico. Thank you, Spain. Without you, we would not have chocolate. Oh my god, Mexican chocolate, that's for another episode. But anyways, they start, they realize they need a workforce, because they've killed off all the Tainos. So they actually tried to enslave them, but I think that didn't work because of the disease part, but also because of the fact that these people, more than likely, haven't been there for so long, knew the land, and they were able to escape into like the mountains and areas like that. So they get up out of there, and the English are like, "What are we gonna do?" And they're like, "Let's go to Africa. We're gonna go to Africa. We're gonna get some black folk. They don't know the land. They're not from this area." And I know that was a thought. That, and they said that African labor was cheaper. Yeah, because you were treating them like appliances. So that effectively starts the slave trade in Jamaica, and starts, the slave trade. So they get down there, and surprise, they're not happy. They don't want to be there. probably because that was not their home and you kidnapped them. And so there are all these rebellions that start in Jamaica. They just, I mean, all kinds of rebellions go on. And I think this could be just me thinking with common sense 21st century brain, but did you know, I'm just going to blend all of this and then put foundation on over here. Did you know that Jamaica ended slavery, 57 years before America did? And we kind of had the same thing popping off with like the insurrections and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe the English were a little nicer. But yeah, 57 years before us. That is crazy. I was like, why is America always trying to be so stubborn? Like, then again, they came off of England, so they were probably like, we don't want to be like them. You know. they ended slavery. Well, we're gonna fight over it. And then we'll end it once the South gets their asses handed to them. Anyways, so back to Jamaica, which is what this episode is about. So Columbus gets there. Spanish rule, English rule. The English are there until 1962. So they're there for a while. Like they're there for quite a while. Oh, I didn't talk about the Maroons. Let's go back. So the Maroon people, first of all, were originally escaped slaves, and they're actually still they still have descendants, which I think is really cool. That there is still descendants of these people. They kind of remind me of the Gullah people in the Low Country, as far as like how they speak and everything. They said sometimes people like that are Gullah are confused with being from the Caribbean, which I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, that was just a quick little blurb about those people. Wow, the Maroons. So now we go on to the haunts. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the Duppies. And this is tied to our birthday boy. Happy birthday yesterday, Bob Marley. So, when he is like first beginning, his singing career, he was part of all through his singing career, he's part of a singing group called the Wailers, and they had to perform in graveyards, like not for funerals. No, the person that they worked for, and if I get the name and the person they sang produced their music, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But the thing is, they had an issue with their talent having stage fright, which is understandable, stage fright. So he decides he's gonna have his talent sing in graveyards. So that is what they would do. And this is where you get the song Duppy Conqueror. Like, it's inspired by that, by when Bob would have had to do that with his group. Then there's another song, and I think there are some more, but there's another song that it just has just a beat. Like, it is a beat. Like, it's really good. Called Mr. Brown. So the story behind Mr. Brown, because I had to research it. I was curious. The story behind Mr. Brown is that there was this, it's like a urban legend figure. He was going around, it's in the song, just like terrorizing Kingston. And apparently Bob Marley read the article about it and was like, I don't think he said this is great, but he was just like, So he writes a song about it, and hence we get Mr. Brown. And I encourage you to listen to it because it is a jam. I mean, the first time I heard it, like when I hear a song, the first thing I hear is the music itself, like the rhythm or whatever, and that's my curse. Like that's the first thing I hear. I'm like, oh my, what's that? I'm like, oh, what is this? Is great. And so I heard it first, and I started listening to the lyrics, and I was like, I'm concerned. Like, what is going on? Who is this person? Is Mr. Brown controlled by a remote? Who is this Mr. Brown you speak of? Interesting. So those are two songs that I know of. I have a Rolling Stone magazine like commemorative edition, I think from 2016, from this month, and Bob Marley's on the cover. So I will, see if there's any other songs that he's got that are like paranormal in nature. Now back to the Duppies. Now they didn't run into these, thankfully. You have so I'm gonna run it down. The Rolling Calf, Old Heag, also known as Old. I looked up what Heag means, and it's hag. I guess it's the Old English pronunciation of hag that survived in Jamaica. The other one, or the last of the Duppies, is the River Muma or River Mother. Now I'm gonna say what she's also known as in my horrible in my horrible upcountry Piedmont Southern accent from Georgia. She's also known as a water sister. Like, oh God, that sounded terrible. I didn't want to I was like, I don't want to disrespect nobody with this. Who am I trying to say it like they would say it? So I'm gonna say it like I would say it. She's a water sister, or they would say water sister. That's how they would say it. Almost. But that's like her other name, and I love her. I do. I mean, I love a black mermaid. Can y'all see that behind me? Black girl magic. We're magic. I think that's so cool. So let's start though with the Rolling Calf. So the Rolling Calf is exactly what you think it is. It's okay. Wait a minute. It's not a calf on wheels. Rolling, is a term for like on the move. So this calf is on the move. So the Rolling Calf roams through the streets. I'm sorry, I'm blending in my face. It's just. But the Rolling Calf roams through the streets of different places in Jamaica, and sometimes it's described as centaur-like. So it's got like a human body, and I think it's human body and like calf legs, or it's like a whole calf. Really, the pictures I've seen of it, and I put a picture in, it looks like a bull wrapped in chains with fiery red eyes. Oh, terrifying. So it's like, listen, I did this research at night, and I was paranoid, because I was like, how some, like, side note, some, like throughout the African diaspora, you tend to find stories and different things that kind of intertwine. So I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to get me in my room. Let me lock my door. When I get on the Old Heag, then you're really going to see how messed up I was Friday night. So anyways, it roams the streets, and the bull is said to have 2 human legs, as I said, and the front is regular bull legs. I'm like, what? So here's the thing about the reason that it has human legs, because it is said to be the reincarnation of humans. Like, basically, people that were, excuse my French, people that were shitty in life. That is what, excuse me. Wait a minute, I'm trying to figure out what color to use. What color I want to use. Outspoken. This is me. So, it's said to be like the, so shitty human. People who were criminals, criminals aren't robbers, but criminals, just anybody who was horrible in life. So I think that's where the human legs comes from. And this thing is relentless. It will come for you. It will chase you down, girl. And if you don't know what to do, you in for some problems. Now they say what to do when you hear the rolling calf or see it coming. So first thing they said, the first thing you see is like bright red eyes, like the color of my phone case. I guess you could say that's my phone case. So like red eyes. Then or before that, is it before? No, before that you hear the chains, and then you see the red eyes, or you see the red. It's either way. You need to get up out of there. Like this girl I listened to on YouTube for relaxation, who's Jamaican, and she was doing this. She did a little thing like this Halloween, and she was like, "I'm gonna tell y'all what to do. I don't question my ancestors, but listen, I'm gonna tell you what to do." So she was saying that you drop things, as many things as you can, to distract it. And the way I think about it is, y'all seen Family Guy? And you know how they had James, what's his name? He's the actor. I'll put it on the screen. But you know, the one where he's like, ooh, piece of candy. Like, ooh, piece of candy. That's the idea that I get. It's like, it's supposed to distract this calf. And you just run. Run like hell. Like, just, run like hell. Leave. And get to your house. Otherwise, it's going to be some problems. So, that is the rolling calf. And now we get on to old heg or old hag. So, the old heg / old hag, if you're from the United States, is basically like, she's a hag. Now, what scares me is that I'm looking for a color. Should I do green? No. Looking for a color. We'll do cozy. So the thing about her is that she is a old woman by day and then a hag by night. And she appears as a rolling ball of fire, like at night. So she's so it's like I said, so old woman by day, scary person, paranormal duppy figure by night. So, and the way, now this is the one that, oh God, this is the one that destroyed my life. They were like, she can come in through cracks and locks and stuff. And I was like, oh God, I live with my parents, and our house is not like old, but it's not new. And I was just like, cracks in the what? They were like, yeah, cracks. So watch out. But they said the way to get her is, okay, let me demonstrate it for you, for all you kids out there who are just as superstitious as me. So they were saying that to get her, if you are scared of her coming through a lock, you take that lock, put a key in it, and put the key in like this, so that it's at an angle. And then you turn it back to lock it. And in the morning, you should see a pile of bones. And that's also scary, because now you're like, damn, this woman was really coming for me, y'all. She out for me. She's coming for me. So the way that I heard too is that she is the Jamaican equivalent or version of a succubus. So yeah, so there's that. I was like, whoa. And I'm like, damn, Jamaica, you scary. Hold on a minute. Gotta do this eyeliner. Once again, Family Guy. Damn, nature, you scary. Damn, Jamaica, you scary. I was like, what? Yeah, shapeshifters. That's terrifying. That's such a terrifying idea. I mean, like, I can handle werewolves probably because they've been romanticized, but an old woman on some, like, drag me to hell type ish, nope. Not me. Not I, said the cat. So, next one we have my favorite, the River Mama slash River Mother. So, she is a mermaid that lives in the river. And I think my eyeliner was inspired by her. So, she lives in the river, in the Rio Cobre. So, river Copper. Copper River. Remember, it's, what is it? That's an adjective. Yeah. No? Anyways, Spanish. Rio Cobre. River Copper. Copper River. If you're into that. So, she lives near or in, not in, near the flat bridge in Jamaica. And I'll put a picture up. It's literally just, it's a flat, unassuming bridge. It's a bridge, unassuming. And that's her place of residence. Now, she only shows when the river turns green, or lizard green. See what I did there? I didn't do it on purpose. It's lizard green. She combs her hair while sitting on a rock using a golden comb. Now, when we were talking about Columbus and his search for gold that wasn't there, y'all remember the gold that he was told wasn't there? Well, here's the thing. I think that was part of the gold, because they said that the Spanish came there looking for this woman and her comb. Mainly the comb. I don't know we know what they was going to do with it. But they came looking for this woman's comb. Just like they was really out here trying to take this woman's hair products, and I'm like, that, come on. Be better. Come on, what are you doing? But yeah, so like that is the golden comb. Now the thing about this is sometimes she is seen as a like positive spirit, but sometimes she's seen as malevolent. So she's been known to drag men to their death, especially if they try to steal her comb. And I get it, girl. It's hard to find a good comb. My comb is over there, and I found it's wide too. It's everything you could want. It's beautiful. Like it goes out next week. But the thing about it is she's also, so what I've noticed is there's an equivalent, probably because of like how much we were spread out as people. But there's an equivalent here in the South, especially in places closer to the coast, which I found, I was like, that's interesting. Connections. So here she's seen as, and they don't think they call her River Mother, but here she is seen as dangerous, like just straight dangerous. Like there are stories of slaves in Louisiana saying that they, and in the Low Country, in this part of the South as well where I am, so South Carolina and Georgia and Florida, and I think Alabama too, they were saying that, you know, there were these drownings, especially in the rice paddies, and they were blaming this water spirit who comes in the shape of a female. And I was like, I love connections like this. I don't know why, but I do. But that's the sort of American connection. But here's what I love too about the River Mama or the River Mother is she is undefeated. That's literally what that woman, she's undefeated. You don't cross her, because if you do, you'll catch the hands. And also, when they describe her, or the pictures I've seen of her, you know, we're used to Ariel, you know, sort of white Anglo mermaids. But here is this woman with hair like mine, more or less, seen with braids or dreads, and you know, she's powerful. Like I really like that. I was just listening to a video on representation, and I was like, that's what that is that I always feel like, how come we're not, you know, but I always found that to be cool, and it's kind of sad that she's not really represented, I guess, well, especially here, well, in the United States. I mean, it's not per se our culture, although we do have a version of her. along the coast, or maybe she's more, more along the coast. You can find, things about her, but she's my favorite. Uh, I love going to the beach. I love the ocean. I love like that kind of thing. So I was like, I really like this. I was just, oh my god, like I was like, even at the same time, even though she's dangerous, she's a good dangerous. Don't steal her comb. All to it. And when the river down there turns lizard green, don't bother her. That's all to it. And they take that seriously down there. There was something. Now I can't even remember the article, but I had read this article about that, about how they do not play around with her, which is very good. I like that. I like when you're, to be respectful of your culture and the traditions your culture has. And I'm just beating the hell out of my face with this stuff. So now we get on to the ghost of Annie Palmer, also known as the White Witch of Rose Hall. So Annie Palmer, well, first of all, let's talk about where Rose Hall is. Rose Hall is in Montego Bay, Jamaica, which is a place I'd really like to go. Thank you, Beach Boys, but also thanks, Jamaica. It's on the northern part of the island in I think it is in St. Anne's Parish, which is where Columbus actually landed. St. Anne's Bay, which is up there. And this is the home of was the home of a woman by the name of Annie Palmer, and it was also a plantation. So she's born in England. I couldn't find the year, but she moved to Haiti, and she was taught voodoo. And in Skeleton Key fashion, if you've ever seen that movie, but if you've ever seen that movie in true, we'll just say fashion, she uses it for evil. She uses it like for her own gain. Not to say some of our people don't do that, but she doesn't, and I was just like, really? Anyways. So, she moves to Jamaica as an adult. Or I think she moved as an adult. And she gets married to a man by the name of John Palmer. So, John Palmer owned Rose Hall Great House, as they call it. Or Rose Hall Plantation. I think they are, as we might call it. Or we might be more apt to call it. Just a moment. Getting these lashes done. I haven't curled these in ages. I'll do it when it, next video maybe. So, yeah, so her and John Palmer, they live in Rose Hall at Montego Bay. Now, not surprisingly, she was horrible to her slaves. This woman was a POS mobile. Like, she was just out here horrible. I mean, not to say that whole institution was good, because it wasn't, but this woman, okay, y'all remember 12 Years a Slave and that weird couple? That was her, just in one person, which is terrifying, because it's crazy, like, what the French toast, no. But this woman was horrible to her slaves. I mean, it's like, I won't say I have never. But it blew my mind. And I know that whole institution and those people were not good, but really? Excuse me. Oh, she made me cough. So she would take her slaves, they say as lovers, I think, to kind of clean it up. Basically, she was sexually assaulting these men and then killing them. Oh, and on top of that, she killed her husbands too. Because this woman had no chill whatsoever. So yeah, so she was killing her husbands and her slaves. And she was just out here losing her mind. Like, just tripping. I mean, she would do stuff like stand on the balcony and watch her slaves work and be tortured. They said she really liked to watch them get beat. And I was just like, So Roots was like porn for you? Okay. Weird. But yeah, so she was a horrible person. I mean, absolutely horrible. Um so she finally gets taken out by one of her lovers. And this slave, this man was called Taku. And I've heard two stories. One was that he had a daughter that she was messing with, and he was like, I told you, stop. The other story is that, you know, he was tired of her. No, these slaves, as a collective, as they say, were tired of her ish. Like, they were ready for her to go. Like, they was like, listen, we know you murked your husbands and you out here killing us, and we don't appreciate it. So, Taku, man of the hour, gets in there, you know, does his thing, and strangles her in her bed. So yeah, so he strangles her in her own bed. And till this day she haunts Rose Hall. Haunts Rose Hall because of that. There's also, I heard something that they didn't do with her grave, which I can't remember what that was exactly that they didn't do, but it's, man, that's what he did me. But yeah, so she haunts Rose Hall, and she is pissed. She is not happy. I mean, first of all, she got taken out when she was supposed to be the one in power. No, not today. Well, no, yeah, you did. So, also, ain't nobody taking you. Ain't nobody's heaven / afterlife taking you in, lady, because you was terrible. Like, I don't know what your problem was. So, like, listen, there's racism, and then there's criminal minds level. She was gunning for both. But they tell, I've read stories, and they've told about how they're like, listen, when that place closes down, the workers, they get the hell up out of there. They are not for the play. And you know what? I understand them, because I worked at a historic house museum with some suspect things going on. So I know what they mean. They leave. They go. I'm so lame. They get ghost. All right. That's enough. Come on, Adrian. Come on. Let's get it together. They get up out of there. They say do not go near her bed. Do not go near her bed. People have been attacked. People have been just, you know what, I'm gonna say, if you going to Jamaica anytime soon, and you know, at her house, don't go in her room, because I think that's where her balcony was, and she pushed a lady off of that balcony, who was a maid there, because some people did move into the house after some years after she died. So Johnny Cash lived there, and there was this couple that lived there. Johnny Cash wrote a song. This is the messiest song. He was like, where your husband's at, Annie? What'd you do with them? Where they at? Huh? I don't hear you. What you do? Where they at? Did you kill him? You killed him. Like, because he lived there. First of all, I don't know how you could live in a house like that. I'm sure the locals told him, hey man, that house haunted. And he was probably like, I got it. But yeah, he wrote, oh man, that song he was so spicy. I listened and I was like, oh well, wow, okay. But yeah, so yeah, don't go to her bed. I mean, it's a nice bed, but that don't mean you ain't gotta touch everything. They even have ropes around it, like about 3 or 4 feet out. So it's like, so you won't make no mistakes. Now here's the even crazier part about the Annie Palmer / Rose Hall situation. There's a Hilton literally across the highway from this hotel, or from this place. So you've got, and I'll put the map up too, because when I saw it, the first time I saw this was when we were planning to go to Jamaica on a cruise, and the cruise is gonna be in Montego Bay. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, that view from Rose Hall is absolutely gorgeous. But I cannot do it. That I can go to many different haunted places, reportedly haunted places, but it that one just scared me. Like it just kind of it got under my skin. But I was looking at just looking at the map, and I'm looking and I'm like, all right, let's take on deep. And I'm like, oh Lord, like I was like, highway. So picture this, and I'll put it in the, on the screen. You've got the highway running, through. I think it's A something. Then you've got the Hilton, and then Rose Hall, and the Hilton is called the Hilton is called Rose Hall, or the Hilton at Rose Hall, or something like that. And I was like, oh, so y'all bragging about this? Oh my God, I can only imagine what is seen at that hotel, because like I said, I'm looking at that land or looking at that map, and I'm like, that was her land. That's too close. That was that woman's land, and I know they had mad acres. I know they did. I mean, you own a huge plantation like that. I know for a fact that was her land, that y'all now turn into a resort, an all-inclusive. No. I looked at it and I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, nope. So, yeah, so let that horrible, idea sink in, that it's people vacationing on a former planet. Well, people do that, but ew. Like, no judge. It's a nice hotel, but judge. So now we talk about, we're going to talk about GoldenEye. Another connection to our birthday boy. Okay, so here's what I didn't know. Bob Marley was supposed to buy GoldenEye. I don't know what happened. I don't know if our guy Ian Fleming, who I'll tell you who he is in a minute. I don't know if he yoinked it from him, like, joke's on you, and took it, or what. But I learned he was supposed to own GoldenEye, and it's like, listen, it's beautiful. It is for somebody who is as creative, as either Bob or Ian. I don't talk like I know them. I mean, I listen and have seen both their works, so I guess I do know them. But Ian Fleming, if you don't know, is the man who wrote the Bond novels. My stomach is making noises, sorry. So, he wrote all 14, I think it's 14 of those novels at GoldenEye in, once again, I think this is St. Anne's too, is northern Jamaica. So he was living there in the area is called Orica Besa. Yeah, Orca. I think it's Orica or Orca. No, it's Orica. Orica Besa. And GoldenEye, which for all you Bond fans, y'all know that's a movie. That's what he named his house. GoldenEye is also said to be haunted. Apparently Ian Fleming used to throw down, like he would have parties that were just lit. I mean, and they say you can still hear these parties going on, clinking the glasses, all of that. And this story actually comes from a man that bought GoldenEye, and well, this was old, but he was living there, and he said he would hear this at night, hear all this stuff, and be like, because a couple of times it sounded like, I guess almost like, how somebody's washing dishes, and he was, what? And he woke up and turned over, and his wife was next to him, so he was like, oh no. And it kept happening, and one night he really heard it and was like, all right, this is some Scooby-Doo shit. Like, that's what, like, what he surmised. So now we are going to talk about Port Royal, Jamaica. Now, let me tell you something about me. Um, I have, ever since I've been a child, I have loved Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean is my jam. And then, and I know what happened. Actually, I really don't. Honestly, you know what? I don't know when I started liking it. Like, not the movies, but like, you know what? Muppet Treasure Island. Girl, that movie is still my jam. I will still laugh at that movie. Some of I'm thinking about it now. I will still laugh at that movie. So I think it started with Treasure Island, the Muppet version, and then we went to Disney. We wrote Pirates of the Caribbean. Girl, you would have thought I had a spiritual awakening. I was 8 years old. I was in no, I was younger. I was like 6 or 7. Like, oh my god, I love this. Like, I don't know what. Also, I love to go to the beach, and I said that when we were talking about the river moment. I love going to the beach. Now, one of my friends was like, "Girl, that's some past life ish you need to deal with," which I'm like, "Yeah, it probably is." I listen to sea shanties in the shower, and like this is before like okay that whole like trend of sea shanties. No, I listened to those before the pandemic. So yeah, this might be some past life stuff. So Port Royal it appears in Curse of the Black Pearl. It's where Will and them live. My favorite blacksmith. Wait, let's talk about them pirate movies for a minute. I am a fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but y'all gotta stop. I mean, and I'll be like this last one. I was like, I'm not gonna go see it. It's not that good. Like I was like, it's not gonna be that good. It's just like they're just like making money now. But what did I do? What did I do? Like whenever I saw the preview and saw like Captain Jack Sparrow and especially Will Turner. And I graduated to Captain Jack. Anyways, what I do when I both saw them, I was just like, babe! Like, it was. I gotta stop being that. That's gotta be some form of toxic loyalty. Anyways, so Port Royal appears in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, the first movie. I think it's kind of mentioned later on, but first of all, it didn't even look like the real Port Royal, which bothered me so bad as a nerd. But the movie that does do it right of all movies is Cutthroat Island, and that movie has a reputation for being like not very good. I like it. It's comforting, but it has an accurate depiction of Treasure Island. I think that was actually filmed. That part was looked like Malta somewhere, but. Port Royal, Jamaica is founded in 1494 by the Spanish. So the same time that Columbus, the same year rather, that Columbus finds or comes to Jamaica. A few months later, in why am I thinking July? Wasn't a few months later, but in that same year rather, they found the city of Port Royal. Now it's today 17 miles. I think it's 17 miles from Kingston, and it's like okay here. So once again, I'll put a map up because I'm bad at describing things. I'm bad at describing things. So you've got Kingston here, and then there's this little spit of land, or was this little spit of land. Then you have that's Port Royal. So it's literally like here, or it's literally here, and then Kingston's here. So they're like in the same vicinity. It was known as the wickedest and sinful city in the world. Also the richest city in the world, because all the pirates and they're how they do. They drink and they blow money. They're like millennials. Anyways, so it was positioned here. It is at the mouth of the Kingston Harbor. And all this wickedness ends on June 7, 1692. What I mean by wickedness is, once again, your girl is no, she's not. You're not a pirate whore. No, you're a historian. So I read all these books about, and okay, like they talk about Nassau was like Nassau was rough and it was like a shanty town, but Port Royal was like Las Vegas. It was just raw and uncut. And they said the funny thing is there were all these churches because the way the person that did the video or did this interview put it is that you had a lot of drinking and smoking and a lot of praying. Like I mean, and also, a lot of like debauchery, we'll say. So, all of this comes to an end, like I just said a few minutes ago, in June of 1692, June 7th to be exact. So the city was hit with an earthquake because there's a fault that runs underneath Jamaica. It's actually kind of dangerous, and it's the same fault that runs through or underneath my school connections. So this earthquake hits, and this causes a massive tsunami that takes out a third. I think it says a third of the city. The earthquake was so bad because Port Royal sits on essentially sand, and that sand liquefied. Because, like I said, it's a narrow spit of land, and it's just sand, and it liquefied, and this is why the city sinks. And once again, I'm gonna put some pictures up, and you're gonna be like, "Damn." Like, what? Like, it's not, of course, it's not funny. It was horrific. So this sand mingled with the water, liquefied, and that's what sank. So 33 acres of land disappeared underwater. 2,000 people, I would say over 2,000 people died from the earthquake and the tsunami. And then, like, with these kind of disasters, especially back then, disease would spread. And so there, and this was due to like the fact that there was no sanitation like works, so the water got compromised. There was no food, so people started killing folk for food. It was like pandemonium, in Port Royal. And the city eventually is rebuilt, but it kind of made me sad. The pirate in me was sad. I don't know. I don't know. Because this was also people's homes and stuff, so that's like the other part that kind of bothered me. But, so the city's rebuilt, and it did go back to its wicked ways, but it never recovers. And once again, we're going to circle back to Pirates of the Caribbean right quick, because that's my jam. So, when Curse of the Black Pearl opens, I'm like, what year is this set? And I get the feeling it's in the 1700s. Now, the shots that they show of Port Royal, if you're a nerd, look at it. I'm thinking this has got to be well after the 1600s, because it seems to me like it's small and kind of unassuming as a town. Like, it's not as grand, I should say. So that was like that's one thing I thought of when I saw that movie. I was like, when does this take place? I don't know why this keeps. I was like, when does this take place? When is this? I was so curious. I was a nerdy little 13-year-old. I still am. I mean, I'm not 13. I'm 31. 13 reverse. I'm 31. So, anyways, so yes, siege rebuilt, never recovers. But of course, with such a traumatic event, we have hauntings. So these hauntings, it sounds kind of like these people are in shock. So they say many people have seen ghosts walking around, and these are seemingly victims from the disaster, and they just look like, where the hell am I at? Like, they just stunned. They've also heard, like, I keep doing that because I'm my teeth. They've also heard the bell that I think it was part of a church. It went down under Kingston Harbor. So all of like that 33 acres is now under Kingston Harbor. And you can actually go down there and dive on it and look around and stuff. But there's a bell that tolls, that rings, that they say that locals say they've heard it, people say they've heard it. So yeah, like that like they're kind of vague on the ghosts that are there, but I mean it's kind of self-explanatory. Pirates have been seen. Just all kinds of stuff have been, all kinds of things have occurred as a result of this disaster. So we are done. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I should talk about that is scary in Jamaica that I know of? There was this one story I heard about this man who was like, he's like a highwayman, and his ghost is said to roam up in, it's like up in the hills, like in the central part of the island. He was apparently he was murdering people and like taking their stuff. And when he got discovered, he had I think they said he had a watch for like every day of the year. Like this man, he was a serial killer, like the New World's first serial killer. So that's one story I heard, and they say you can still hear the screams and moans of his victims. So that's one little blurb of the story. But I'm gonna stop doing that with my lips and my teeth, because my teeth is lipstick magnet. So I am going to end this video. I hope you like this look. I was gonna do the Jamaican flag, but I wasn't gonna do y'all like that. I tried it out. I did like a test run, and I was like, I don't want to offend my relatives by marriage, people I know that are Jamaican that probably don't follow me on Instagram, but I didn't want to do y'all like that. But I did do this lizard green though, so it's cute. This look actually turned out cute. The first time I did this look, it was, I don't know, I think because I didn't use a bright eyeliner, it just wasn't. I do test runs before I, do my looks. But this is the end of the birthday special for Bob Marley / Haunted Jamaica. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a people. I'm like, oh, I hope he likes it. It's so weird. But anyways, I will see you all on Wednesday. I'm planning to do, there I go again. Look at, oh God. I'm planning to do Haunted Savannah here in Georgia. And I'll do Haunted Atlanta later, maybe. Listen, I'm just not, Atlanta's so boring. It just, or maybe I'm bored by our, like, I won't say our history, because we got civil rights history. That's so rude. But I'm just bored by, you know what, because all the ghosts are like Civil War history. I saw this documentary when I was doing my research about it. And it was so like, it was basically just salty, like, my great somebody or another fought in the Confederate Army, and I'm just in my feels about it. Like, it gave me that energy. So I'll see if we do Atlanta, But other than that, I'll see y'all later.